Hi. A bit more about declensions. A couple of years ago, I had an idea, which I finally put into action this week. And the idea was this, that in ages past, when people learned Latin, and they started to learn Latin grammar in school, the chances were that in Europe anyway, until, the mid-1700s, probably even later, that person would have been exposed to quite a lot of Latin already in their life, either going to church or in other areas of life. So that by the time they got to studying Latin, there was quite a lot of Latin in their heads, even though they may not have understood too much of it. The Romans, who formulated the declension tables, etc., that we use and have kept using pretty much unchanged since the time of Donatus, who was writing towards the end of the classical period. We haven't changed the method of teaching. We're still learning these declension tables, but these declension tables were designed for people who already knew the language, and we don't. So I thought, well, why not do something different? Laura Gibbs mentioned that when she learned Polish, she didn't learn the declensions, all the first declension words and then the second declension words and then the third. She didn't do it that way. She learned by case. So all the nominative cases and all the declensions, and then all the genitives and all the declensions. And I had a look at the Latin declension table and I thought, well, actually, this is not such a bad idea. Maybe it would be much easier if we just learned all the nominatives going across the 5 declensions, and then we learned all the genitives, and then we learned all the accusatives, and so on. So I've made a table, and this table is restricted to expressions that are used within English, that are Latin. So if you look at this, everything on it pretty much should be familiar to you. Now below this episode, if you are on YouTube, you will find a link to Google Documents where I've posted this. I've discovered that YouTube will allow me to put a Google Documents link underneath a YouTube video. I suppose because YouTube is now part of Google, they allow that. If it was an outside link going to a non-Google site, that wouldn't work. So you can find underneath this episode a link to the text and have a look at it. For example, for the nominative first declension, I've given 3 examples: aqua, water; nausea, which is nausea, that feeling you have when you're about to vomit; and regina, a queen, which you find on English coins. For the second declension, I've used the proper name Brutus who killed Caesar, and the expression annus horribilis. That one was used by the Queen a couple of years back, a horrible year. Annus in the nominative. Vinum, wine. Argumentum ad hominem, which we know, we've used that expression in English, argumentum ad hominem. Quid pro quo, quid. If you do anything to do with drama, you will know what Deus ex machina is. Deus ex machina, God from machinery, when all this stuff comes down from the top of the stage. And magister, a teacher. For the third declension, corpus, a body. Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens, that's what you are. Pax, meaning peace. Lex talionis, the law of retaliation. That's a biblical one. You might not know it, but some people might. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. In the fourth declension, lots of words. Status, that's status. Coitus interruptus. Fetus, hiatus. Impetus, prospectus, tinnitus, spiritus. So in Latin pronunciation, this would be status, coitus interruptus, fetus, hiatus, impetus, prospectus, tinnitus, spiritus. And in the fifth, the phrase "the thing speaks for itself," res ipsa loquitur, res publica, republic. And then some words, species, which in Latin is species; scabies, which is scabies; rabies, which is rabies; and series, which is series. These are all fifth declension words in the nominative. So if you take one example of each, I suggest you pick one word or one expression. I've given a few on the table, but just print it off and highlight one that is known to you, and learn them. and then you will have the endings for the nominatives. For the vocatives, the only one you have to worry about is et tu, Brute, and you, Brutus. And all the others are the same as the nominatives. The genitives, I've got a few floating around. Some of them you may know, some you may not. Just highlight the one example that you know, and then you'll have the endings for all of the genitives. For example, aqua vitae, curriculum vitae, aquaeductus, aqueduct, in the first. So aqua vitae, vitae is of life. Curriculum vitae, you should all know that one, it was CV. In the second declension, exempli gratia, or the one that's on all of our coins if you live in England, Elizabeth Regina, Dei gratia, by the grace of God, fidei defensor, defender of the faith. And that one comes up in the fifth declension as well, because fidei defensor, defender of the faith, fidei is a fifth declension genitive. Rigor mortis, you may know what that is. Non compos mentis, in loco parentis, dramatis personae. So there are lots of examples. And just highlight one that's familiar to you, and for that, memorize it. The datives, they're not so common. So I've chosen one that's found in prescriptions for the first declension. Ade aquae, add to the water. I couldn't find a common dative expression. Gloria filio, glory unto the Son. So glory to the Son. Gloria filio, gloria patri, glory to the Father, and gloria spiritui sancto, glory to the Spirit, sancto, holy. Sancto, of course, in the second. And I couldn't find one for the fifth declension, a common English expression. But the ending there is a. The accusatives, lots of them. Someone goes on and on, ad nauseam. In the second, loads of them, ad absurdum, ad infinitum, ad initium, ad extremum, ante bellum, etc., etc., per annum, per centum. For the third, post mortem, argumentum ad hominem, habeas corpus. Note that it's a neuter, so it doesn't change in the accusative, same as the nominative, habeas corpus. And that will help you remember that your accusatives and nominatives are the same. Ad finem, contra legem, if you're a lawyer. In the fourth declension, we could only come up with one. My friend Laura Gibbs found this one for me. Post partum. That's after you've given birth. Post partum. The fifth, some very common ones. If you paid per diem, you paid per day. Post meridiem, you put PM after the time in the afternoon. Post meridiem. And the expression carpe diem, seize the day. Don't waste opportunities. For the ablative in the first declension, also loads of them. In absentia, sub poena, pro forma, ex cathedra, in camera, dulce et decorum est pro patria mori, ex gratia, an ex gratia payment. You are paid pro rata, and bona fide. The second declension, loads of examples. In vitro, fertilization. Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord. Ex nihilo, from nothing. Pro bono, de novo, ab initio, de facto, in loco parentis, and so on and so on. And we have a few compounds with English words. Electromagnet, immunosuppressive, thermodynamic, thermometer. In the third declension, quite a lot of expressions. Sub voce, that's quietly. Extempore, in corpore sano, in pace, in flagrante delicto, ab origine, and in the fourth, we have quite a few as well. In situ, and we have compounds with English. Acupuncture, puncture with a needle. Manuscript, written with the hand. In statu quo ante, in the state it was before, and an impromptu performance comes from in promptu, Also that one provided by Laura Gibbs. And the fifth declension, at the top of your letter, we have re, about the thing. On a prescription, you might find bis in die, twice in a day, ter in die, 3 times in a day, in prima facie, so prima facie evidence, pro specie, and of course bona fide. So have a look at that, highlight one example from each that's familiar to you, and learn it, and you will then know your declension table. It's a lot easier doing it by case, because then you can use expressions that you're familiar with, and I think it'll speed matters up for you dramatically than learning declensions of unfamiliar words. Once you've learned these, then of course you can apply it to words that you are going to be learning by their declension. That's that. So have a look at the link down below, print off the document, and have a look at it. I think you'll find it helps you tremendously. Vale, bye.